I do think that people are experiencing, like I said yesterday, all right, we're in it. We've been in it for a month or so. Now we can see, glimmers of hope that we're coming out of it. What that's going to look like and what that's going to be like, I think, is to be seen. But we have to, on our side, I think, look at the trends and say, okay, is it signage? Is it hand washing stations?
Right.
Is it mask?
Right.
Is it this new way of looking at a restaurant from the customer's perspective, from the employee's perspective, and from the owner's perspective?
Right.
And to me, that's where we come in to help. We've all watched a lot of webinars and seminars lately, and I think it's important. It used to be concept, execution, and that guest experience.
Sure.
Well, now safety's part of that experience for the employees, for the owners, and for the guest. And I think that's something that's, the next wave of how are we going to handle those safety expectations
Right.
for all those three groups.
And I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think that this is going to last even beyond the fact that if we feel like we get to a point where we're cured and no one's sick and things like that. I think it's going to be, it's going to be in the back of their mind all the time. And there's always going to be this what if. And I think what's going to be tough to manage is there's different perspectives. There's a customer's perspective, there's an employee's perspective, and there's an owner's perspective.
Yeah.
It's going to raise costs for some of us out there. They're trying to provide these extra things, both our employees and the safety for our clients as well. And I think people are going to be a little bit hesitant. Some things are just going to be about the way things look. I've heard people already pull up to a pizza place and look through the window and no one's got any masks, and they get back in their car and they drive away.
Yeah.
I heard a story about a woman going to Walmart, and she was parked in the parking lot and watching 20, 30, 40 people going through the door without masks on, and decided, I don't want to do this, got back in her car and drove away.
Yeah.
So I think that the perception is going to be one thing. The reality is too, I think more and more we've become more conscious as an industry about all the things we can do to make food safer and the environment safer and OSHA and things of that nature, and just all those types of things, the work environment, the hours, all those types of things. But I think this is just another level, and I think it's good in a lot of ways, but I think there's going to be some costs for that as well.
Yeah. But I think it's something that the operators need to embrace. I think it's something that we need to,
Absolutely.
The mask that we have in front of us, the sanitizer, the plexiglass,
Right.
the lines in the carpets, the tables separated, all the things. If you embrace it, and that's it, to me, we can always go back, but
Right.
this is going to be the new reality, and then we either jump on and embrace it, or we're going to get left behind, because I think the reality out there is we need to understand what the public's concerns are, the employer's concerns, and the owner's concerns, and kind of figure out what the best way to deal with those are. And that's why I'm glad that a lot of industry, people in our industry are stepping up saying, okay, here's the solution to this.
Right.
Here's a solution. Every day we're getting
and we're
a
seeing
new
that
one.
now. And
Yep.
one of the things I also really like is I've seen sort of the stress level sort of come down to the people who are in the industry and are running restaurants and are running food service operations.
Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, I think we can do this. They're starting to feel like we can affect change. We can still stay in business. We've had people say they're up 30% in business. I mean, I know that's very few and far between, but they're getting customers because their customers know they're taking the precautions to send them a safe product.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things, if you look at this as empowerment, anyone who's a smart business person and is a good entrepreneur is going to go, hey, I need to look at this as an opportunity to set myself apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, maybe it instills in people to put a little bit aside for a rainy day, to make sure they have a backup plan. They discuss these things with their employees so that they can understand what the plan is going to be if something like this happens again. I think if we look at it from a positive spin instead of always the negative, I'm not going to survive this. The strong survive. We've talked about this before. The nimble survive, and I think that more and more we're seeing people are saying, "I feel more empowered. I feel more confident. I think we can do this. We figured out a solution," and people are finding new ways to do business. I have a friend in the Rochester area that I worked with for quite some time, and he owns a butcher shop, and he's installing 2 vending machines. They're chilled vending machines, so he can sell cryovac meat in a vending machine 24 hours a day in an area that you enter into his shop that he doesn't even have to be there for. Yeah. So it's that's the way they do things in Korea and China now. So he sees this as, not only am I going to do this to be able to survive, and he's installing those machines today. They built a room and everything, new entrance, the whole bit, and moved fast once he figured out how he could service his customers in the right way. So he's not only is that going to help him now, but when he reopens, people will be able to access his shop 24/7 and be able to have access to that. Like it's so he's figured out a way not only now to make money, but in the future to make money.
And that's that positive thing that I was telling you about.
Right.
There's going to be some good. I mean, this has been horrible. There's no way to put this. This has been horrible for a lot of people. But it's some good has come out of this.
Right.
You know, some, you know, from a sanitation standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from a, hey, we need to plan better in the future. Our employees need to plan better. You know, every vendors need to plan better. We have to have backup plans. We have to have backup for this, backup for that. You know, just like that butcher. You know, I started in the vending business when I started my career, and the saying was, a vending machine never calls in sick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a perfect opportunity for him to increase sales.
Right.
He's going to have to put some money up front, but in the long run, it should help him. And I think some of the operators that we're trying to work with, we're saying to them, okay, here's the new reality.
Right.
Mask, signage, sanitation. And these are all things that our vendors are giving us, and we're getting more involved in. You know, who thought the number one seller this week would be masks?
Right.
A year ago, I would have laughed at you and said, get out of this building. You don't know what you're doing. That's the reality. Is it's changing, and what is the next thing? And we're trying to look at that, and we've been talking about that. What is signage? I think is the next big thing that everybody's going to need. And then after we're done with signage, what is the next thing after that? Is it tension barriers? Is it, you know, different type of seating? Is it you know, more of this to-go menu type of thing? So you're going to see some people have already said
self-standing sanitizer right inside the front door. You know, like when you come to pick up your to-go orders. Like I just think there's a lot of things, and I think that, you know, I've sort of always struggled with the third-party delivery system, and you know, who's carrying my food, and I think that was a big issue that really nobody was paying too much attention to before this happened, and this made everyone pay attention to it. And then, you know, people have come up with better solutions instead of using those third parties to do things themselves or figure it out themselves, and you know, not have to pay those extra charges. So it's an evolution of the solutions that are going to come about because of it. And I think some people are being pretty crafty about it. And I think that they're using their heads and they're going, okay, we can figure this out.
The dinosaur was the big one this week that said, okay, this didn't work, and we're going to go with our own. And there's other people that have looked at it in the area. You know, the one thing that going back to good things coming out of it, I think people have realized how important restaurants are, how important food service people are, how important convenience stores are. Can you imagine if they got shut down? Or, I mean, it's been bad enough, but can you imagine if they weren't where they are today? So I hope that appreciation comes where people realize how important they are. They support them, they support us. You know, all this buy local.
Right.
You can't get any more local than someone supplying all these 300 restaurants in the area and more. I think that's important. I think people need to realize that to get back on our feet, you know, what do we say, 75 to 85% we're down? Yeah. I mean, that's a big number, and I think people need to realize that restaurants, some of them are 100% down. Right. You know what I mean? So people are going to need, if you want to support something, I think it's going to be the restaurants and the food service establishments in this area to get back to where even close to what they had before. Yeah, we did. With a new model. Right. I think everybody's going to have a new model. And I think everybody's going to have to adapt.
We didn't talk about that too much before either, is I think that, you know, everybody's like, oh, I can cook at home every day, and I can go to the grocery store and get my food and things like that. Again, exactly what you're saying, restaurants are imperative to our existence. There's so many people that because of their work schedule, because of their family life, because of their ability to cook for themselves, all those types of things, they need a restaurant to survive and get food and things of that nature. And they gravitate to places that have either their price point or the quality of food they want, you know, all those types of things. It just shows us that how important restaurant and hospitality is to society.
It's that emotional response to that, going there, how are you? How you doing? Having that glass of wine, having that aroma, having that great meal, having that great experience, that emotion that says to you, wow, I like that. Right. People need that right now more than anything. And I think we'll see it over the next few weeks where that we'll get the ability to do 25% seating, then 50% seating, and then, you know, will it be 100% by the end of the year? I hope so, but at least we'll be able to get out, we'll be able to see that experience again and get that emotional connection with the restaurants back, which I think is really important.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see, even just from an ease of pickup and delivery systems, like how, we've seen people put in additional to-go windows. We've seen people come up with systems to make their delivery service faster and more efficient. I mean, how many times do you on a Friday night call it for a pizza and they're like, it'll be 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and then you get there and it's still not ready to pick it up, or that sort of thing. So I think that we're also becoming more efficient in the business that we do, because we know that it's important for us, in order to keep up the business, we got to make it happen a little bit faster. So I think technology falls into that place. I think there's some people down the road who are going to be like, okay, I need to figure out how to cook my pizza faster. Yep. I need how to do this more efficiently. So I think that at some point, that'll roll into our business as well. People will be looking for ways to do things better and buy more efficient equipment and buy things that are faster and better quality.
Well, that make it what they want. We had one last week that said, hey, I want to do this. I can't do that anymore. It didn't work as well as I want. I want to go with this piece that I know will give me that crust and that flavor, and it won't dry it out. And I think hopefully more people will realize, hey, that the quality of what they're trying to produce and the quality of the equipment really do matter to get the end product that they want, because there's going to be everybody fighting for that business again.
Sure.
It's going to be, when we all come back out of this, there's going to be a lot of people trying to get back opened up. And then we're really going to see the effects of what happened to those people that, like you said, aren't the strongest.
Right.
And they may not survive this. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to figure out too as we look forward.
Yeah. And I think there was a worry in the beginning that was like, oh, I'm going to have to eat all this carry out and the quality is not going to be good and things of that nature. But what we've seen is a lot of restaurants are going above and beyond to streamline their menu, to give you a higher quality product, to attract the people in to eat their food. And I think we're going to see a trend. We're going to see more food that is better quality, because they realize the value that I need to attract these people and keep these customers coming back. So if you go some places to go and it's like, okay, these guys really took a shortcut and didn't do XYZ to make this really good, you're going to go, I'm not going to go back there again. But somebody does a really great job. Kevin was talking about a restaurant where he was like, yeah, I would never go there to eat, and his kids wanted to go there and eat, and he couldn't believe the size of the salad and how hot the food was, and what he got for like $20. He's like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I would never have expected this. Yeah. So there's definitely some people there going, we want to capture the business. We want to keep these people coming back. We need to give them a good quality, not only a fast product and make it available, but it's got to be good. So that's good for our industry in general.
Oh yeah, it's just adapting to those changes. And we used to use that saying, sell the sellers and lose the losers.
Right.
And that's going to be helpful, I think, and for everybody's, they're going to look at what it cost. They know now what it cost them. They've had time to really look at it. They've been through this limited time of where they've had to shrink down their menu and things. And, labor, we had the one guy that was looking at the new equipment also said, I might not do that dining room 5 days a week anymore. I may only do it Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Those changes are going to have some effect on labor and what we're doing. And I think some of this is going to be a natural flushing in our system in the industry. But I think we're going to have to look at what does the next phase look like? And do we grow back, or do we reinvent the restaurant business? And if we do,
I think it's going to be some of both, all that, right?
Yeah.
One of the interesting things I did hear this week too is, and this is great for the employee, I've heard owners themselves admit, they've gone down to a small staff, mostly culinary staff, and they're trying to execute these things. And the owners are more in the mix, like in the restaurant, helping box stuff and prepare things and run food and all this stuff. It's increased their perception of the value of their employees. And they realize, oh my goodness, just because I'm down 75% doesn't mean I can do the same job with 75% less staff. They understand what it actually takes to prepare the food, put it on plates or put it in to-go containers, deliver it in high quality, all the steps that it goes into. And I've heard some of them saying, hey, I got to bring more staff back, just so that the people that are there working don't get burnt out, because I'm asking them to do so much more. Yeah. So I think we're also going to see an increased awareness and increased appreciation for employees that are really good, that work really hard, and are working for the same goals that you are. And number two, that the jobs that we thought were just easy jobs that anybody could do as a restaurateur or a chef or an owner or something like that aren't really as easy as we thought they were. Yeah. So it gives ownership and people who are running these establishment managers to understand a little bit better about what it really takes to do this, because maybe they haven't experienced it firsthand, or they haven't got into the nitty gritty and done it themselves. So I think it's a big win for the employees out there who are like, hey, I'm trying really hard to help you out and help me out and help us all out. And the customer's important to me as well.
Yeah, the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare workers, the firefighters, the police, the EMS, they all deserve that and have been incredible during this. But when you think about it, the restaurant workers, the convenience store workers, our appreciation should be twofold.
Right.
Because they have really done an amazing job and feeding us and doing things that they've done to keep the economy moving and to keep everybody fed. And look at the couple of restaurants that donated all those meals to the hospital workers, and think about all those people that had to prepare those and come in and they're, that to me, I think is, we need to be more appreciative and more respectful in general of the whole food service world, because it really has showcased how important it is. Because I don't know, I can say this without knowledge, but I don't think anybody's been affected as much as the restaurant industry.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, some industries have had to shrink and some have kept going and changed what they do, but we have been shut right down.
Right.
And I hope people realize how important restaurants and how important food service is. And they are essential, which is, to me, one of the good things that has come out of this.
Right. I mean, one of the things I've heard people, is particularly in our area in Syracuse, I've heard owners say, I can't raise my prices. I don't feel like the market will bear a price that is reasonable. I think now, and I think they've suffered from a profit margin because of it. I think in the we see prices go up all the time, and we value certain things differently. Like, we can pay $5,000 more for a car, but if a cheeseburger goes up $4, we're going to be irritated about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think too, it's going to be a little bit. We're going to appreciate the quality a little bit more, be willing to pay for quality a little bit more. So I think maybe some of our profit margins hopefully will increase in the restaurant business as well.
Yeah.
It gives people a little bit more appreciation for quality and what it takes to do it. A lot of people have been cooking at home and they realize how difficult it is because they haven't done it in a really long time, or if ever. So I'm hoping that in each of these different areas, people are starting to open their eyes a little bit and say, hey, I need to think about what's really good about this, and not and understand that, hey, maybe I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more money for going out later, but I'm gonna appreciate it a little bit more, and I'm gonna be more choosy about where I go. It just makes the market stronger. It makes the good people thrive, and the people who are taking your money and not giving you a good value are going to go away. So I think those things are all really positive as well.
Yeah.